We just had one of the most exciting days of Divisional Cup qualifiers. Mongraal making his first finals of the season. MrSavage making it to Div 1. He can now play FNCS. We had Peterbot and Acorn clutching up the second day of qualifiers. And a lot of you guys keep asking me what is going on with competitive next season. There's no FNCS, but will there be cash cups and what do we know? So there's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. I normally kick off with NA, but we had an extremely exciting EU with a few big questions. Did MrSavage get to Div 1 with Vidil? And the answer is yes. Savage, Vidil, and Rezon came first in Div 2. They absolutely dominated. They had more than double the kills of second. Ridiculously popped off. If the format was any different, if you had more than 1 point per elim, they would have been even higher on the leaderboard. They played insane, which is to be expected. This is a team that clearly isn't Division 2 quality, so they did really well. Now, as far as where they're going to go in FNCS next week, we don't really have the answer yet, and I think that's going to be the biggest problem for Savage. People keep asking me, where do you think Savage is going to place? Is he going to get LAN? Is he even going to make grand finals? Can he get top 3? I'm not really sure. I think there's a lot of potential in this trio. They're looking amazing. They're 3 great players, a lot of grands experience, but drop spot, that is going to be the biggest issue. Right now in EU, the drops look ridiculous. There is no good drops for free. I have honestly no clue where they're going to go. And that leads to my next question. I want to talk about the drop map for finals after talking about Mongraal making the finals. So we had Mongraal, Focus, and ZND pop off. They needed like a 360 point day 2. They managed to pull it off. They ended up getting 24th overall on 654 points. And if you look through their match history, they had some good games. They had an average placement of 10th with an average elims of 6.13. So there's a few games they went down around 14th, which took about like 20 minutes of the game and they didn't get too many points. That held them back from being like in the top 10, but that's just like 1 or 2 refreshes from being a top 5 game. They are looking really, really solid. Now, talking of the drop map, unfortunately, they are going to be contested though. They're going the Z-Andy split, which is over near where the bird used to be, and they are unfortunately gonna have to go up against Axe Force, Della, and Bevies over in that area of the map. So kind of showing you again a similar situation that Savage is gonna be in. I don't know if Savage, Vidil, and Rezon will have a lot more respect than what Mongraal, Focus, and Z-Andy do to maybe claim a drop spot, but as we go through this drop map, you're gonna realize very quickly on EU, there's not a lot of spots up for grabs. So first off, a big team that's missing Malabuka. I've hyped up this Veno versus Malabuka spawn fight at Lone Wolf Lair. Who's going to come out on top? Are the 2 LAN teams throwing their FNCS, the winners versus the runner-up? Malabuka didn't make finals. This is kind of crazy. After day 1, he was down the leaderboard, and what I thought might happen, but didn't want to say in a video in case it didn't, we had Veno strategically getting out of his games right before Malabuka gets into a game to make sure they get in the same lobby just to practice their off spawn fights. A lot of people are really kind of, funny around when it comes to Q sniping, whether it's against TOS, whether it's not. A lot of players do it, especially if the pros on your friends list. It's very easy to do. No player was streaming, so like they're stream sniping or anything. They're just making sure they get into their game to make sure they don't get as many points. Now, Malabuka didn't even go onto social media to complain about this when Veno was clearly doing it, because I think Malabuka just knows business is business. There's so many different teams that do this. It's such a common strategy. If you're going to be contesting, you can make the team contesting and not qualify. Some people like myself are thinking it might actually be decent for Malabuka to qualify so Veno can get some spawn practice ahead of FNCS. But first place in this tournament is $22,000. So that's a lot of money. And with uncontested Lone Wolf Lair, I think Veno has a very, very good chance to get first place. So it makes sense, but I know some people are a bit funny about it. I wanted to make sure I mention it. I've seen a lot of pros Q-snipe in the past. I haven't given them a hard time for it because to me, it is smart strategy. Yes, it's not the best sportsmanship, but a lot of people do it because it does just make sense and you can do it just through your friends list. I'm sorry for the terrible quality map. This is the best one that I can find, but it gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. Pretty much every single good POI has at least 1 team on it, if not 2. I don't really know where Savage is going to fit into this. We have Phenoxy claiming Mars Meadows uncontested, which is crazy. They've done very well. They fought off the FNCS champs, and now they get to reap the benefits of that. We had Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache qualify, which I'm so excited for. Uncontested Queasy at Seaport City. They have a 100% win rate in set lobby finals right now, and then up against Veno, who's now uncontested Lone Wolf Lair. We'll get to see a very good scenario of, is Veno's drop actually better? Can they do considerably better out of Lone Wolf? Because they're going to be fighting, hopefully, a full force Queasy. Now we had Cammy qualify as well, uncontested Brutal Boxcars. I think they're going to do phenomenally again as well. I'm excited to see how Fred does with uncontested Mars Meadows. Thomas HD is going to be going the fields as well, getting that drum gun. If you saw my react video, Thomas HD looks like he's genuinely cheating with that gun. It is ridiculous. We also have Vanya, Pixie, and Marius qualified again, uncontested Flooded Frogs. They're in my top 5 to do really, really well. And then Pix, Damus, and Dharm out of Pump Power. Those are probably like my 5 teams to look out for. So I think Veno's going to do really well. Queasy, Cammy, Vanya, Arena, and then Pix. Those are my main 5 teams I think are going to pop off, but we have Trulex, Noah, and Shark, brand new team out of Kappa Kappa. I'm excited to see how they do in a set lobby final. Obviously, a lot of firepower on that team. They could be absolutely dominating. The Akira versus Pink spawn fight over at Demon Dojo is going to definitely be a fun one to watch. We have Skivvy going up against Kiddo, so 2 brand new teams. Skivvy, Teeny, and Chap going up against Kiddo, Cheeps, and Skrill over at Crime City, just showing why Venner doesn't want to drop there. It is very clearly too hard to hold down for just one team on AEU, and that doesn't even include the train. Those 2 teams are fighting over just Crime City, not even the train. We have iDrop contested again over at the mines. It is just apparently impossible to get this drop unconned on EU. They're going up against Yako. And then, like I said, we have Mongraal going up against Axe Force, as well as Gordetti against Shakos and Podesai against Kyrie. Moving on over to NA, we had some big teams that needed to clutch up on day 2. We had Peterbot and Acorn both going in outside the top 50 on the last day. Peterbot, in truly Peterbot fashion, very quickly put any of the haters who thought, oh, you might not qualify, they suck, to rest when they got 3 30 bombs in a row, back to back to back, skyrocketing up the leaderboard, securing the qualification. Meanwhile, Acorn, Ages, and Poyo had to leave it to the very last game to clutch up their qual, so it was a close call. They did just look phenomenal in the Eval Cup set lobbies early this week, so we'll see how they go. Maybe they're just struggling in opens, but they're more of a set lobby team, which kind of leads into how well they did in grands out of nowhere. We'll see how they go. There have been rumors around social media, and Poyo's been saying on streams that the vibes aren't 100% there. If you've been watching any of their replay games, because obviously I haven't been streaming, there's been some things that are a bit odd, like baseball batting each other in Storm. Poyo just randomly let himself die in Storm. I think there was a bit of drama over whether he gets the mythic pump or not. It could be all trolls. Poyo and Ages love trolling each other. Pete and Poyo were doing that all the time. Normally, if you saw Pete and Poyo, like, you know, baseball batting each other, it was a sign they had good vibes. So not really sure exactly what's going on there, but they didn't play the greatest in opens this week. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. A brand new trio that played phenomenally well in opens was Muzz, Reed, and Cooper, getting 1,000 points, winning 8 matches of their 20. Just absolutely insane performance for a trio that formed the night of Div 1. Also, again, Reed stepping as that IGL role. So we'll see how well this team does in finals. That's always going to be the biggest concern when you have 3 phenomenal fighters like that. Yes, opens is one thing, but how are they going to go in the set lobbies? Now, again, for a lot of you guys who are concerned what's going on with Craze, we had Rapid, Booga, and Threats come in second on 975. So if that team does as well in finals, I feel like Craze, unfortunately, might be getting dropped. We'll have to see. We had Taki, Issue, and Vert in third. We had Kanata, Bolts, and Sphinx, our brand new trio, in fourth. And then G-Money, Virgo, and Osid in fifth. So a lot of new trios at the top there. Clicks came in 8th overall. They stopped early to start playing NA West as well. Like I said, Peterbot came in 18th. We had Acorn in 19th. We had quite a few EU players make the finals again. We had Queasy. We keep getting Cringe making pretty much every single finals. I'm not really sure how Cringe keeps doing this, but it's going to be a pretty stacked finals, and I do want to talk about the drop map. There's not too much crazy going on the drop map. Kind of normal stuff you'd expect. We have Pete going uncon Crime City in the train. We have Rise, Yapko, and Curly going uncontested at the shafts. Depending on how well they do, depends whether Muzz will slot back into that trio. They made finals, but finals is going to be the final judge for most of these teams. Clicks, Higgs, and Yomzo uncontested Lone Wolf. Acorn, Ages, and Poyo have made no move to go Lone Wolf, so it looks like me teasing that one ended up not being true. Whether it's because Mars Meadows is now getting buffed each week, or Acorn's team just doesn't want to con, they are staying uncontested Mars Meadows. We have Edgy, Chance, and Scare going brutal boxcars. We have Sinetto locking down the Magic Mosses, so it's always interesting to see which teams are going around Magic Mosses, because that pretty much determines how well Clicks is going to do. And right now, there's a few solid teams around the Magic Mosses, but none that I think are going to play extremely aggressively on him. I was excited to see what was going to happen with Reed, Cooper, and Muzz locking down a drop spot. They wanted to go Flooded Frogs, which is Rapid's old drop, now that Rapid is playing with Booger in this. Unfortunately, not getting it uncontested. Reed, Cooper, and Muzz are going to have to go toe-to-toe with Tyler, Curve, and Shadow. And that's very good for Clicks, because more teams that are contested that normally rotate their way into that black market means he gets it earlier, gets it easier, and doesn't have to fight as hard for it. Also, 3 teams currently going Pump Power. We have Barker, Pars, and Pump, our NA West FNCS champs. That's their drop. They always go there. We have Bryce X, Veer, and Dash, and then we have Record, Crazy, and Dorito. So a 3-way fight at Pump Power. Again, excellent for Clicks going into that black market. We have Fishy's team that's going the RV split. That should be solid for Clicks as well. Booger, Threats, and Rapid are going to be uncontested at Seaport. They're going Booger's drop. We have Bucky, Okus, and Cam qualifying going the fields. Now, This is extremely impressive for a number of reasons. Firstly, I didn't know Cam even played anymore, and Bucky just IGL'd 2 controller players to a finals, one of which I thought was retired. So Okus and Cam, obviously phenomenal players, have been for a long time. Didn't know Cam still had it like that, but that is an extremely impressive performance. When you've got most players not even want to play with a single controller player, Bucky IGLing 2 controller players to the finals is insane. They're now uncontested at the fields, which is a solid drop for them. We have Kanata, Bolts, and Sphinx. They're going to be going Hopeful Heights as well. Kanata's usual drop. We have a spawn fight between Cammy and Maribi. So Cammy making yet again another finals on EU. Meanwhile, we have Queasy going up against Jamidi on the mountain. So the EU boys taking a lot of spawn fights here. We have Skittles uncontested over at Outlaw. So if I had to pick my top 5 for this Cash Cup finals, it's probably going to be Pete, Clicks, Booger. I think Booger will do quite well. Acorn. And then I'm guessing it's going to have to be Rise. They're uncontested. They're looking good. I would love to give it to Reed, Cooper, and Muzz, but they're contested. Rise isn't. So that's probably going to be my top 5 coming into this. But we have a lot of new trios we have to look out for. And a lot of these, depending on how they go, is whether they're going to get dropped and make a new trio or whether they're not. Now, I know I didn't just include Kanata, Sphinx, and Bolt in that list. Honestly, they could easily get top 5, but I just haven't seen enough from them. And this has nothing to do with it. But I wanted to share you one of the funniest clips we saw from Opens here. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but let's just say Shogun was fragging out.
Wait, I'm gonna die to zone. I'm dead at zone.
No, there's blobs on me.
I'm not. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm full dead. You need to res. You need to res.
Coming. Got double res and then we
Res me. Res me. Yeah, res me. Res me.
I have a blob. I have a 10 blob.
It's killing me. Oh, we both died.
Wow.
Oh, you need to res me first. Oh, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
No! No!
Yo,
You.
I have nothing. I don't
Blob.
have lights.
Here. Med. Oh.
What the?
Bro.
Oh my god, bro.
I've seen a lot of people confused what's going on next season with the Cash Cups. There's no FNCS. That means there's no competitive. And I don't think so. We only are guessing from this one. We know there is no FNCS because we have the dates and we know when the season ends and it just doesn't line up. But what does that mean for tournaments? Now, I'm guessing with no FNCS, there'll be no divisional cups. It wouldn't really make too much sense to have them with no FNCS. They're literally called the FNCS Divisional Cup. They might try and rerun them and just make them kind of like, you know, multiple round Cash Cup. But I really do think next season being a 35-day mini season, especially themed around Star Wars, we're going to get crazy items, goofy things. I think they're going to kind of throw it all out the window and go for something that's just fun and exciting. A bunch of Cash Cups, whether they be 1 or 2 round Cash Cups, maybe bring back Victory Cups. We could see the return of daily Cash Cups, but I'm kind of thinking they usually save that more for around the summer if they were going to do them. It's not quite summer break when the new season starts, not for most people, but a lot of you guys keep asking me what's going on. There's no FNCS, but that's just normal because it's a short season, but I do think they're still going to run Cash Cups. I just don't think they're going to run Div Cups. So this was the last Divisional Cup before FNCS. I think a lot of people see if you're getting this, FNCS starts next week. FNCS is done and dusted in like the next 3.5 weeks. It's all going to come around really, really fast, but I did want to clear up what's going on next season. We don't have any leaks on exactly what tournaments are happening, but after doing this for a while now, I'm guessing they're going to run Cash Cups, but change it up a little bit so it's a bit more casual friendly.